Well, hello, all you lovely Libras. This is your January reading. Let's say it's your mid-month reading. I know it is late. I apologize. But think of it as a short little update before February and Valentine's Day comes, because if you've been looking in the drugstores, you'll notice that since Christmas, they've had teddy bears and chocolates and all sorts of frou-frou for Valentine's Day. So I know some of you might be a little apprehensive about your love life or what might be going on. Maybe I'm making assumptions. So this is going to be my regular spread, 10 cards. The first 9 cards will be the main reading. And then I'll pull an outcome card. So let's just get right into it. First off, what the fuck? What the fuck? Do you know you have 6 major arcana cards? Really? In the grand scheme of things, it looks like there's going to be big shifts. If you're going into February thinking you're in a relationship, big shifts, things will shake up a lot. Or if you're not in a relationship, you've got karma in the mix as well. A lot of dark cards. You've got this shadow side, you've got karma, then you've got the moon in reverse. And then, I mean, my goodness, this row here in the present is the only row without any major arcana cards. So Libra, and I'm a Libra by the way, so I'm looking at this and I'm like kicking my partner out. What the hell is going on? But it doesn't necessarily mean anything bad or breakups, but it does mean that it looks like there are certain things coming to the surface where the universe is like, whoa, if you think you're on a certain path, just you wait. And so looking at my notes, well, for starters, when I looked at my notes, I wrote, whoa. And the other thing I wrote was weathering the storm. Now, here's what I'm saying. Some of you Libras, maybe you did, some of you might have started a new relationship in 2018. And this first row here, you have the shadow side, which is about bad energy, dysfunction, your demons coming to haunt you. Then you have the Hierophant, who mediates. And then you have karma, which is a card of destiny and fate. Things change and they can never go back. Your path is, you're put on a completely different path. And so this is, the karma card is about fate, what was meant to be. So when I looked at that, there's a quote that came to me that I wrote down. And by the way, it's when some of my psychic energies, it's better for me to write things down. Psychic writing or script, just being able to write, sometimes that is an energy that I use just to channel what the message of the oracle is. So these notes are kind of helpful for me because when I was studying the cards and just trying to channel everything that was happening, I write down whatever comes to me. And that was the first thing, like, I can't do this again. I can't go through the dysfunction again. And so for some of you Libras, there might be a sense of deja vu, meaning dysfunctional patterns, anxiety, someone being needy. When I look at that shadow side, I get the sense that some of you are dealing with a partner who's extremely demanding. And the Hierophant is sandwiched here in the middle between karma and the shadow side, as if to say, let's calm down, let's work it out. And it could be that some of you Libras are sort of backing out of a relationship. Now remember, your yearly reading that I did for you a few weeks ago, I get a sense of, I think the title of your reading was Leaving to Love, meaning some of you Libras might actually be leaving relationships behind. And that might still be the case. This seems to be a lot of dysfunction, and you sort of like, okay, let's back up here. I've been through this before. I'm not going through the same relationship issues again. So that's the first row. 3 major arcana cards right after the other. When we get here to the middle row, a little bit of heartbreak. You've got these swords. You have a 2 of Swords, which is indecision, and then an Ace of Wands, and this is the middle card. This is the energy of the relationship. And so what I'm sensing here is this, maybe the relationship is a new beginning, maybe you're ready for a new beginning, you might start over. And so once again, another sandwich. You got a 2 of Swords, the Ace of Swords is right in the middle, the Ace of Wands, by the way, and then you have a 3 of Swords, like disappointment. And so for some Libras, that it can be interpreted in different ways because there are different Libras, different situations. But it feels as if some of you are trying to decide if you're going to stay in the relationship, if you're going to give it a chance, or if you're just going to cut your losses. Or maybe this other person might cut their losses. They are so they don't know what they want from the relationship. But I kind of feel, I really do feel strongly, based on what I'm reading from my notes, is a decision to leave. Like, you know what, I'm just going to take some space, or at the very least, I'm just going to start over. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, because sometimes it's better to be alone than to be in a very shitty relationship. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing here with the non-major arcana right now in the present. What am I going to do? It seems like some of you Libras are backing off slowly to the door. Or it could be the other person. Either way, there seems to be a little bit of disappointment. It's almost like, I was hoping this could work out, but I'm not sure. So when we get to the future, what I wrote was, out of confusion, we have leadership to love. And that's because you have this moon, which is reversed. Now the moon is the card warning you of danger. It's the card of listening to your subconscious, because it has that moon here. In fact, moons seem to be very important here, because you have this full moon here, the eclipse, and by the way, as I do this reading tonight, there's going to be a blood moon, a lunar eclipse. So everybody could be getting some wonky energy in the next few days. And then you have the moon, which is self-explanatory. So just understand that when the moon is reversed, it's about not being blinded, okay? When the moon is reversed, it means you're not paying attention to your instincts. You're not paying attention to what your subconscious is telling you, like, you've been through this before. But it feels like you want to ignore those signals. It feels as if you're not, even though your gut might be telling you to run or get away, it feels as if this emperor is coming along, as if to say, hold on, don't cut and run. Don't cut and run on this person. Or it feels as if there might be some stability with the leadership. So that's when we come to this Empress card. So the Emperor and the Empress, they're both the active and passive. They're both the rulers of the material world. The Emperor is about leadership. It's about establishing rules and boundaries. It's about being responsible. Then you have the Empress, who's about sexuality and motherhood and romance. And so when I look at the future, this is the past, this is the present, this is the future, it feels as if you might be thinking, I'm just going to, I'm going to maybe give this person another chance. Or some of you are reconsidering, even though it means you're ignoring your better instincts. I'm not necessarily saying you're about to head down the wrong path, but as I said, it's just really strange that you have all of these dark cards. And then as we head to the end, things get a little bit more stable and more optimistic. And it could even be a sexual attraction, Libra. And as you know, the Empress is all about love. So this is obviously natural energy here as far as romance. And Libras are always about romance. Not necessarily commitment, but romance. It feels like you give in a little bit. So when I play, let's play the video and see what happens with your outcome card. And so when I look at your outcome card, here's the other interesting thing. You actually have this Page of Swords reversed. The Page of Swords reversed, and swords being your energy here. So you've got this Two of Swords, Three of Swords, Page of Swords reversed. Page of Swords is about clarity, it's about truth. Whenever someone holds up that one sword, it's about making decisions, it's about communicating, it's about making a statement, but it's reversed. And so the Page of Swords, when it's not reversed, is about cutting through petty arguments, cutting through the BS. When it's reversed, it feels as if there's a retreat, that you're not willing to cut ties completely, if that makes any sense. And sometimes it can mean bad communication. And so for some of you Libras, I get the feeling that it's sort of like being on a path and you feel like you're in the right direction, and then shit happens and you're like, no, we need to switch up. We need to take a new direction. But sometimes switching directions and being unsure of yourself is not a good thing, especially if you're ignoring your subconscious and your intuition, and especially if you, with this Page of Swords reversed, you're avoiding and you're backing away from the truth. So you might be with someone where there might be some red flags. You're like, okay, I'm not so sure this relationship's for me. But the other person is like, no, please don't go. I want to be with you. And vice versa. Some of you can't leave a person. You're in love with them and you really want it to work out. And so you might be ignoring good advice. And the Page of Swords reversed could definitely be that. Or you make a bad judgment. Now, as I said, this is a general reading. So this could play out in different ways. But I do get this general sense, this general energy of you in the middle of the relationship. People have feelings, they've fallen in love, and some of you Libras are like, wait a minute, I'm not so sure. Something happened, there was an argument, there was a big conflict. And sometimes air signs get skittish. They're like, when something goes wrong, they're already heading out the door. That's the general feeling I have. Doesn't mean you're going to be alone. Doesn't mean that a relationship is coming to an end. But I do get a sense, especially from the first three cards, that some certain decisions were made by your partner, certain behaviors, certain events where you're changing your mind and you're like, well, can I get out of this? Okay. At the most, in the most general sense, it could mean second thoughts. Okay, so take that for what it is. All right. So I apologize that this is late, but thank you for your patience. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to all my clients. I really appreciate you. I hope you're having a wonderful new year so far. And of course, I'll see you again. Believe me, I will have February ready. So please, be patient. Okay. But anyway, take care, and I'll see you again in a couple of weeks.